Hey everyone, it's my kid Lazy here, and although I wasn't actually planning to release a new video today, I nevertheless decided to get back to you guys with a channel update right now, as I've got some not so good news unfortunately. To be more specific, this is going to be a follow-up on the video I made last year in November about the new European Copyright Directive and Article 13, which might threaten the future of my YouTube channel, and not only. By the way, in case you haven't yet heard about Article 13 and how it may affect us, you can watch my other video at the link in the description, where you can find more details on this topic. And at the end of that video, I promised I would get back to you as soon as I got the results of the final vote by the European Parliament, and I finally have them now. Before I begin, I'll kindly ask you to bear with me, as this video is going to be much longer than usual because I've got a lot of things to say. But again, please bear with me until the end and I'll try to explain everything to the best of my ability. So long story short, unfortunately on March 26th, the European Parliament adopted the Copyright Directive, including Article 13, which has now been renamed to Article 17, but that doesn't make things any better because the text itself is unchanged. The final version of the law hasn't brought any improvements and still remains highly controversial. The member states of the EU will have up to 2 years to transpose the Copyright Directive into local legislation. Alright, so how are we going to be affected? Well, that's a good question because at the moment nobody knows exactly how the provisions of this new directive will be applied in real life. The text of the law is very vague and highly interpretable, which has given rise to a lot of speculation about possible negative effects of Article 13, such as online platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and others having to resort to using upload filters to prevent users in the EU from uploading any copyrighted material for which those respective platforms do not own a license from the rights holders. This includes music, fan covers, tutorials, gaming videos, memes, and not only. Other possible effects include blocking all the users in the EU from accessing this kind of copyrighted material on such online platforms. And some have even gone as far as saying that these platforms might as well decide to stop their services altogether in the EU, as the cost of complying with this legislation would be huge, regardless of whether a platform opts for acquiring licenses to continue to use the copyrighted material or for developing and implementing upload filters instead. There is also fear that by having adopted Article 13, the European Union has set a precedent which might encourage other governments to adopt and enforce similar laws in other parts of the world as well, especially since this is not the first attempt made by governments to introduce more coercive copyright laws. Remember ACTA, for example. Regarding YouTube in particular, it is not yet sure what exactly will happen. Shortly after the vote on March 26th, the company released an official statement on Twitter saying that the final version of the EU Copyright Directive is an improvement, but we remain concerned. Article 13 could still have unintended consequences that may harm Europe's creative and digital economy. We urge EU member states to keep these concerns in mind as they move to implement the new rules. So basically, they don't really tell us anything as to what will happen to our channels, what kind of content will be blocked, and to what extent. Like, for example, if they're going to block all the videos from being uploaded in the EU, regardless of their type, or if it's only specific type of content that they're going to block. None of this is clear yet. We don't even know when we will actually start to see any changes as a result of this copyright directive. Some say that the provisions of Article 13 will begin to take effect within the following months, others say that this won't happen until 2021. Again, nothing is clear. I can only assume that at the moment they are waiting for each individual country to start incorporating the directive into local law, and they'll probably give us more details at that time. What's interesting is that, like I said in my first Article 13 video, YouTube already has an upload filtering system in place called Content ID, which works particularly in the case of videos containing copyrighted audio or music, like in my case. The way in which Content ID currently works is the following. Whenever I upload a video, Content ID scans it, identifies the song that I'm playing, and then YouTube sends me an email telling me that my video contains copyrighted audio, and my video is marked by YouTube as being copyright claimed. And this basically happens to all the covers that I upload onto YouTube. Does that mean that I'm in trouble? Most of the times, no. Or at least not at this moment. In such cases, my videos usually remain available on YouTube, and people are able to watch them, but I'm just not able to monetize them. Ads will most likely show up along my videos, but all the revenue that comes from them will go to the owner of the copyrighted audio. which from my point of view is perfectly legitimate, and it doesn't really affect me anyway because I'm not even able to monetize my original videos, but that's another story. Okay, so that's what happens in most cases. In more extreme situations, a video cover like mine can be blocked in certain countries or even worldwide, depending on what the copyright owner has agreed with YouTube. From what I've noticed, most artists do allow the reuse of their songs because it may indirectly help them increase their audience and earn additional revenue. And in some other very rare cases, they may even agree to share some of that revenue with the actual uploaders of those covers. So far, so good. But the big problem with Content ID, however, is that it is not actually 100% flawless. Let's take my cover of the song Вам не by Luna, for example. In this video, I didn't play over the original song, but instead I recreated the instrumental from scratch. But it doesn't matter because it's still a cover of a song which I do not own. So I would normally expect Content ID to tell me that the video will be claimed and monetized by whomever owns the publishing rights for Luna's song. But guess what? If you look at the copyright details for this video, you'll see that it says the name of the matching song is Where Them Girls At featuring Florida and Nicki Minaj? What the heck? What does Luna even have to do with this? Of course, nothing. To be honest, I really wonder how in the world could YouTube's filtering system manage to find such a connection between the two songs, because if you check out both songs, you'll see they are completely different from each other. And yet, YouTube says they're not. I haven't disputed the copyright claim though to tell YouTube that it is Luna who should in fact receive the revenue from my cover, because I do not own the rights to that song anyway, and because I feared they would take down my video for the same reason. But what I want to point out here is that this is a clear example of Content ID not being able to identify the correct song match. And this is not a singular case. Lately, there have been several YouTube users reporting that their original videos had received copyright claims for no valid reason. One of the most striking examples in this respect was that of a gaming vlogger who tested a microphone on a private YouTube stream, and the sound of his own voice got claimed by a third-party company, which is absolutely ridiculous to say the least. Eventually, the guy disputed the copyright claim, which was then removed by the third-party company, as they agreed the sound in his video had nothing to do with them, and later on YouTube themselves admitted this had been a mistake on the part of the Content ID filter. But unfortunately, that only treats the effects and not the cause itself. So like I said in my previous Article 13 video, the problem with upload filters is that they are very error-prone and far from perfect. Given YouTube's Content ID epic fails I just talked about earlier, even original work might get blocked for no reason. For example, if I write an original song and post it on YouTube, I might as well receive a copyright notice that some unknown dude out there claims my song to be his own, and therefore YouTube might have to take it down because it doesn't have a license to use it. And in the context of Article 13, the European Union basically wants such filters to be implemented across the entire internet, not only on YouTube. Sounds great, doesn't it? Now, regarding covers alone, because this is the type of content that I provide for the most part, theoretically these also fall under Article 13 and therefore might be banned as well. However, there is one very small yet important detail that I've noticed with regards to copyrighted music being used on YouTube, and which might actually save my channel, or at least a part of it. On some of my covers in which I played directly over the original song, there's this small section right below the video description which says music in this video, and we have the name of the song and the artist here, and then it says licensed to YouTube by, and then we have the name of the copyright owner. This is also done by Content ID. Now, leaving aside the fact that the system is pretty broken, the connection that I made in my head was the following. So for specific songs, apparently YouTube already has some kind of license to use them, while the provisions of Article 13 apply in those cases where a platform does not have a license agreement with the copyright owner. I've tried to look further into the matter and find out what the license to YouTube section actually means, and according to YouTube's own FAQs, the entities listed in the license to YouTube by field are the music rights holders who have agreed with YouTube to allow YouTube to use identified music in official and user-generated videos. Furthermore, there is this music policies section here on YouTube listing tons of songs for which the platform has an agreement with the rights holders and theoretically showing you what is allowed and what is restricted. which got me thinking that if this is indeed the case, then there might be a chance that guitar covers like mine could not be blocked, provided that the use of the songs that I'm covering is allowed on YouTube, and provided that the copyright owners don't change their mind in the meantime and decide to restrict YouTube's license. However, just like in the case of Content ID, this policy is not very accurate either. There are songs which, according to this policy, cannot be used on YouTube at all, and yet there are many videos which do feature those songs. Surprisingly enough, those videos are still available for watching and are monetized by the rights holders, even if, according to the policy, they don't even allow those songs to be used in the first place. Well, that's weird. And even I have a few such videos on my channel. So it seems that unfortunately this policy doesn't help too much, as it is extremely inconsistent and therefore not entirely reliable. Please note that everything I've said so far is only an assumption of mine based on all the research I've done on this topic, so I am not at all sure about this. But in the current context, I think there's still a bit of hope that my channel and other channels similar to mine will not be impacted that much by the new copyright directive. However, with all these inconsistencies on the part of YouTube, there's a pretty high chance that whether my current and future videos will be allowed on YouTube or not will be pretty much hit and miss. And also, this kind of conflicts with YouTube's initial statement on the copyright directive, which said that music covers would also be targeted by Article 13. So my question is, if they block music covers, then will they also block playthrough covers like mine? Again, this is something that we don't know yet. So long story short, at the moment the future of my YouTube channel is still highly uncertain and under threat. There are many questions which still remain unanswered, but undoubtedly the adoption of the copyright directive will not remain without consequences. But what will happen, when it will happen, and to what extent we will be affected, that's something only time will tell us. But there's one thing I'm telling you for sure. With or without Article 13 in place, I will not give up on my YouTube channel just yet. I will not stop making videos until they actually block me, if they block me at all. Whatever may happen in the future, I will continue to make videos and I will not surrender without fighting first. I know that earlier this year I got so frustrated with Article 13 that I said I would stop filming any new videos until we had the results of the final vote, because I was afraid I would make too many videos which I might end up not being able to post anymore. However, I have to admit that I eventually broke my promise and worked on 3 more videos during this whole period, because I realized I just couldn't stay away from it for too long, because I realized I absolutely love what I'm doing on this channel, and nothing and no one can take away my huge passion for playing music and for making these videos. And even if from now on I'll have to live with the fear that I may not be able to post new videos anymore, I'll keep fighting and I won't give up until I have no other option left. We may have lost the fight against Article 13, but the war for the freedom of the internet is far from being over. I will let you guys know if any changes arise on YouTube, so stay tuned to my Facebook and Vkontakte pages for any news on this matter. Last but not least, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for having supported me all along. Some of you have even sent me messages to encourage me, to give me strength to carry on, and it really did help me a whole lot, so honestly, thank you so much for that. So like I said, until we hear of any new changes from YouTube as a result of Article 13 or 17 or whatever it's called, I'll keep making videos and putting them out for you guys here just like before. And as usual, I promise I'll do whatever I can not to disappoint you with my future releases. And no matter what happens to my channel, I want you to know that I love you guys very much as my audience, and I honestly appreciate all your support and your loyalty. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I feel extremely lucky to have you as my fans. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There are a few of you whose names I see in the comments on almost each and every video that I publish, and you have no idea just how much that means to me, because it means you're really following my channel and you're really waiting for new content from me. And you cannot even imagine how grateful I am for that. If you managed to follow me up to this point, I thank you guys very much, because I know this was a super long and boring video, and I'm really sorry for that, but I've had a lot of things to get off the top of my head here. Now before I wrap up this video, I want to let you know that my next cover will be coming out next week on Monday, as per the usual schedule. And what's interesting is that it's a cover of a song which I initially planned to publish in case Article 13 got rejected, but now that it's been adopted, I think it's actually even more suitable. Unfortunately, I can't tell you the name of the song right now, so instead I'll have to let you see that for yourself next Monday when it comes out. But I really hope you will enjoy it, so if you're subscribed to my channel, please make sure you also click on the bell next to the subscribe button in order to get notified as soon as it's published. That being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more Kid Lazy and stuff, And see you guys next Monday with the new cover. Bye bye!